Look at you with the blazer.
Okay, so as you know, I'm usually like in a hoodie, or something.
Yeah.
So when I jetted from upstairs, I wasn't thinking, and I'm like, it's cold in the basement.
Okay.
So all my suit jackets are hung behind the door, and I'm like, well, I'm only in a t-shirt, and I'm gonna freeze, so just grab
Looks like
one.
you just came from like a presser, last game
And
of the
then,
season was
yeah,
last
and
night. Clean out your lockers, do a little presser.
Media availability.
Are you happy that the workload will kind of level out for the next little while? Like, where do you sit as a a fan? Obviously, you want the team to make the playoffs. It's exciting for the city, but it also adds a tremendous amount of hours,
right,
in the work week. Where do you sit
so
with that?
You always want the team to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like anybody, like personally, when you are working from October to April, the selfishness of it all would be, once season's done, you want to be done because you want to have that time to relax. But obviously, as a fan of sports, and you want your team to do the best they possibly can, you always hope that
playoffs that run, right?
Right.
Yeah. It is a long time though, right? October to April. Yeah, I can completely understand that, where you would just, by the end of it, the long, dreary days of winter where you're just like, okay, I'm tapped out,
Because like it's one of the few sports, right? Like major ones that you start with one season, you go through to another season. Not to bring up weather again, but you're in the fall and you go to winter, and then spring comes and it's still going on. Like you don't typically get that, because football, it starts in the summer, ends relatively in the fall. Super Bowl's in the winter time, but
middle of like the dog days of winter. Makes me wonder, like with baseball, the season ramps up in April. It's the spring. You're kind of walking into that warm weather, and then by the time the season's done, it's late October, perhaps early November. So if you're working in that world, do you want to hold on to the season because it reminds you of the summer? And then once it's done, you're like, now I got to hit reality with winter, right?
Yeah, because like, again, going back to our situation, like when the weather starts to get nice is when you're expecting everything to be wrapping up and done, right? So yeah, baseball, the opposite. Weather's starting to become shit is when stuff starts winding down. So it's probably more depressing at the end of the season versus more rejuvenation with, let's say, hockey.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because you're going into days are getting shorter, temperatures are getting colder, the weather's getting worse. Whereas when hockey's winding down, you're like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I want to go outside.
I'm gonna go on the patio. I'm gonna have a barbecue in the backyard. I'm gonna do all these nice things.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. Welcome, Open Collar, the podcast that keeps you updated on all the latest happenings in movies, TV, and all things geek culture. Whether you are a diehard fan or just looking to pass the time with some laughs, we've got you covered. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a wild ride. I'm Steve, and the well-dressed gentleman across from me on the screen is Cory, and this is episode 106 of Open Collar.
We should always have blazers on. It should be a formal affair.
we should have like a tuxedo night, like Lloyd and Harry. Lloyd Christmas, Harry Dunn. Excuse me, gentlemen, this is a $500 plate fundraiser. Oh, put us down for 2 each. Greatest comedy of all time.
With the unfortunate happening of having a sequel decades too late.
I haven't seen it, and I don't think I will ever see it, because the original is so near and dear to my heart that I just cannot risk it being ruined in even the smallest of fractions. And there's only 2 movies in my life that I've walked out of, and the first one was Malibu's Most Wanted with
Jamie Kennedy.
Thank you, Jamie Kennedy. And the second one was Dumb and Dumberer and I had set myself up so high with expectations for that movie because Dumb and Dumber is my favorite comedy of all time, where Jade and I walked out. And so because of that experience, I think it's almost, protected me from potentially how bad this sequel is. But I don't know, and I never will find out. So nothing can ever hold a candle to the original, though.
No. And like it's the gift that keeps on giving too. Like as you watching it in your youth to watch it now, you pick up more jokes, you have more appreciation. Some of the like to this day, when I just have to reference the John Deere letter scene to Ashley, and she just busts out laughing.
Amazing.
She wrote me this letter, something about
not paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't.
So I call her up.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Jeff Daniels, underrated in the comedy world.
And even he was pretty good in Speed too.
Mm-hmm. Also played a character named Harry.
Was he Harry in that movie as well?
He was.
See, look at him. Just cornering.
Probably like market. in the multiverse, it's the same character.
Yeah,
just one who's smarter.
He's cornered the Harry market.
Yeah. So speaking of long delayed sequels that never should have happened, I watched the sequel to Independence Day. Independence Day Resurgence. Yeah. Oh my god.
Is it bad?
It is a 10-pound shit in a 5-pound bag. Just terrible. There's nothing redeeming about that movie at all.
Okay.
It is like say $175-200 million movie that looks like they spent $20. I have no idea where they spent where the money went.
They spent that much money on
it? It is an expensive movie that looks terrible. Like any sort of scene that is outside with any sort of alien effects or whatever, you can just tell they were just shooting this on a blue screen. And then it shows. But were character is
go ahead, sir.
Good. Like they brought back, I think, a handful from the first movie.
Okay.
And they just Bill Pullman, Judd Hirsch, Jeff Goldblum.
Wow.
Vivica A. Fox. They bring them back, and half of them they just or go out of the way to just kill off or right out into the sunset. Will Smith was supposed to do it, but he wanted $50 million, and Fox said no.
Did he threaten to slap them?
Maybe. So either good move that they didn't pay for that, or could have, if they spent the money on him, maybe it would have have some sort of charisma in the movie.
Did they lean heavily into the tropes of the first movie?
Oh yeah,
they did. I totally see that. Totally see that.
Just right down to they're driving through the desert, just like in the first movie.
Wow.
Randy
Quaid.
No, he's dead. You remember he died in the first one.
Oh right, yes.
But yeah, they have that scene in it. Obviously the invasion going over world capitals. That's to the point where even Jeff Goldblum's character says to him, they have a thing about landmarks. They take it out the Empire State Building, the first one, and White House. This one, I can't remember which one they knock out because again, it was so bad. Anyhow.
So it makes you when there is a sequel to an extremely popular, successful movie, and it's a decade or decade and a half or whatnot after the original, and it's as bad as you explain it to be, which I completely buy. At what point do you kind of question what was the purpose of doing it? What were they trying to achieve? Did they legitimately think that they were going to have the same success that the 1996 movie had, the original one, which that one was huge. It was, I think they were kind of first to market with the alien invasion destruction before you had the other type of destruction movies. I know that I can't remember. It's off the tip of my tongue.
War of the Worlds.
But even War of the Worlds was in 2005. The original movie was from the mid 90s.
I think what for Independence Day was it's the iconic shot of the White House blowing.
For sure.
I think when you have a movie that's willing to go there, and again, that's not even really going anywhere. It's all fictitious, right? But I think it's to take these big American, like, just shows of pride, the White House, the Empire State Building, all these big, excuse me, these big things, just scream America,
living in America,
to blow them up, and like that's never been done in a movie.
Yeah, you're right. Well, thank you for reaffirming my decision to never see that movie, so much so that I forgot that it even existed until 5 minutes ago.
But yeah, like I think if you are going to do a sequel that far removed from its predecessor, it damn well better be worth it.
For sure.
And you have to be damn well sure what you're working on is going to maybe not even just one up, but align itself with its predecessor.
And I think that was a mistake that they probably made too. Is like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring back like most of the original, cast members, the Jeff Goldblums, Vivica Fox, Bill Pullman. Well, you know what? They are not in the zeitgeist of popular culture these days, right? Whereas back when that was coming out, Jeff Goldblum was not only in this, but he was in Jurassic Park. He was
the Fly,
much more front and center. Even Bill Pullman to a certain extent, but you can't really rely on actors of days gone by to have the same impact on a movie that this. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, and like Will Smith was coming off Bad Boys, so this solidified him as an action star.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you can understand. Yeah.
You ain't resurging shit.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah. What made you decide to watch that?
It's been sitting there just staring at me like as not watched on my list of movies that I have on my my server.
And you were just so upset by Shazam 2 and all these other movies that you watch. You're like, screw it, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Oh, geez. I tell you.
Yeah. It's like a palate cleanser, but it's just added more awful taste.
Yeah. It's like the coffee beans, but for movies. Give them a sniff, now you can smell the rest of the perfume.
It's like the smelling salts. Wakes you up. Yeah, I have.
Have you ever smelt smelling salts before?
No, I have not.
Yeah, likewise. Pretty happy I haven't. Just from what I've seen on TV.
Seems to be one of those things that still making its way around. Like it's used now, not even just to wake you up, it's just to give you that little pep. You can see the guys using it on the bench in hockey games
all the time. Just before they
I thought it was just what they did to if you're knocked out to bring you back to life.
I think that's how they probably started with it, and then they're like, hey, hang on a minute. If we tried it coming out of the locker room, then they might have a little pep in their step. So, or maybe it's just all for show. Who knows?
So yeah, we're talking about all the things that I watched. So I could do a quick rundown of all the fun things that a few weeks ago it was John Wick that I attended.
Mm-hmm.
First, before I even get get to a review. So we went on a Tuesday evening. It was 7:15, I think it was. It's a 3-hour movie. 2 rows in front. Man, wife, toddler.
Oh God.
Must have been maybe 4. So just you don't even have like the audible groan, but it's like there's people going, how is this gonna go?
Yeah.
It went just like you would have assumed.
Yeah. There's 2 ways this can go. You can leave, or it can be exactly how I think it's going to go. And yeah.
It did not go well. When there isn't action sequences going on, it's quiet. Okay. So when it is quiet, you can hear this kid watching whatever video on the phone that the parents gave him. So you had that to deal with.
I don't get that.
It's a 3-hour movie. So after an hour, he starts getting bored.
Okay.
So when he's getting bored, he's up. He's walking around. When they can corral him, he's freaking out.
No.
Yeah. Like it was, I swear to God, it was just into the 3rd act after like 5-10 minutes of him just wailing in tears, that somebody finally yelled, "Get out!" Which then prompted some woman to, like, I guess she also had enough, but she also, we're Canadian, right? So was still kind of wanting to be considerate of this woman. So she just yells, "Be considerate of others."
Yeah. Another one yells out, "If you don't mind."
Yeah, please.
Where in the theater were they? Like, where was this? Like, kind of halfway center mark? Was it?
So they were in, I guess, I can't remember. Landmark is now so much smaller with the bigger seats. But excuse me, that sore throat turned into a cough. So the as soon as you come in, like, you have the entrance ways. It's the first aisle with like the accessible seating and stuff. So they were easy egress for them.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I feel like that's pretty selfish on either the father, the mother, or both. Like, do you both love the property so much that you are going to bring your 4-year-old child, regardless of how they're going to act, and neither of you are going to be like, "Oh, you know what? Okay, I'll go take them outside," or "You go ahead and watch the movie by yourself, and I'll go another time." Mm.
Yeah, like,
be considerate.
Come on. That's a whoa.
Yeah.
Too far, lady.
Yeah.
I know. So since I have so many things that I've seen review, I'll keep it quick. So you've seen at least the first one, right?
Correct.
So I will not delve into spoilers. All I will say is this: it is almost 3 hours long. Excuse me, but there is probably an hour 45, 2-hour movie in there that's just as good, if not better, because it's not as long. A lot of the action sequences I found were like repetition of what you just saw moments ago. So let's say if it's a scene that's like 10-minute fight scene, because they're long. Like, the choreography in this is amazing.
Yeah.
And the stunt work is phenomenal. But you could have trimmed them in half, and you would have probably got the same result for it.
Yeah, and so, like, they're just like repetitious fight scenes, to your point, almost to a detriment. But what do you think they were trying to? Were they just trying to have, like, just really put a stamp on it being an?
Oh yeah, 100%. They were just like this. Like, you've liked what we've done. Let's see what we can do and like build upon. Like, the tail end of the movie, there's a single one shot overhead of, like, fights from room to room to room. And then when finally the camera cuts to not being overhead and there's more place, it goes back on top and kind of goes back the other way, almost as if they took the scene and rewound it. You could have, like, again, took that other part out and it would have been fine.
Is there any correlation between the four? Like, is there any connecting storylines or
between the four movies? Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is. Okay.
The first one sets the plate. The rest is world building.
Okay.
And this is like the culmination of all of those movies.
I heard that he only had something like 300 words, or the dialogue.
He had, I think they said 300 words of dialogue over 180 lines. So think about it. 180 times 2 is 360. So most of his lines legit are one word.
Get out. Come here.
No, his most common one, which had me and Vishal laughing all the time, is just yeah.
Yeah. You ready to go?
Like, though, like, yeah. There's like a monologue from somebody and you're talking to him and his response is yeah. As only John Wick could.
Then if he really wants to motor mouth it, he's like, get over here.
Yeah, he goes a little scorpion.
No, that's right.
Next, this past Monday, I took the kids and the family to see the Super Mario Brothers movie. 90 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Especially when you had to work right after the movie.
Okay.
So, saw it at 11. I was at work by 1.
Amazing.
If you are a fan of Mario games, this whole movie is just, as I've seen many people have said, including myself, it is legit the Leo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme of just pointing. I get that reference. Or Steve Rogers. I understood that reference. That's what the movie is.
Amazing.
It is legit, just, references to the games. References to like the old Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh, Get Out, really?
Yeah, man.
Do they like, obviously Donkey Kong and the Mario world is heavily referenced from the movie,
Yep.
but do they reference like Nintendo Entertainment System or Super NES? Like, did they touch on like the console? And
So not to give anything away, but
okay,
there is a scene where characters are playing the NES.
oh, that's freaking awesome.
But there's like the pizzeria that they're at. It's called Punch Out Pizzeria.
Oh, nice.
There's a arcade machine that's Jumpman, which is like the original inspiration of Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff in there.
The boys have been asking to go see this movie, and we do have plans this weekend, so it might be a next weekend thing that we do. Jade's at a course out of town next Sunday during the day, so I think that might be the perfect opportunity to take them. And 90 minutes, I mean, we've talked about this a few times, but like, how refreshing is that? Regardless of the content type, just 90 minutes, boom. Get in, tell the story, get out.
Yeah, like the kids, like they sat there, they ate their popcorn, they had their drink, they had their snack, and by the time that was done, movie was over.
Would you say there was a pretty healthy mix between jokes that would be caught by adults versus jokes that would be caught by the youth?
I didn't really find that as much. Like I said, the stuff that we will get is the references to the old games, like seeing like they're in the sewer and there's a sign that says level 1-2. The kids don't get that. We will.
Wicked.
A lot of complaints online, obviously, about Chris Pratt as Mario and the voice that he chose to do, which is the Chris Pratt voice. I mean, I get it. Like, to me, that just seems lazy, right? You know, you're do something different. Same as with Seth Rogen. But I know Chris Pratt was interviewed saying that Nintendo approached him. So, like, can I fault him for doing his own thing, like his thing, when they say they obviously want him to do Chris Pratt? So there you go.
And let's be honest, if any one of us, listeners, viewers, ourselves, if we were offered millions of dollars to do something that we're a professional at, take it, do it. You know?
Yeah, and like Jack Black was perfect as Bowser. Again, hired to do his thing. He did his thing, and it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, we had
it'll definitely be on there before it's out of the theaters for sure.
I did watch 65.
Okay.
You gonna watch it?
I am gonna watch it, but I've heard disappointing reviews, which I don't know if we were just overly excited about.
I was overly excited.
I was right there with you.
It's it's kind of like Planet of the Apes, right? Like, he's in the future, but somehow he's not in the future. He's in the past.
Right.
Well, I guess reverse Planet of the Apes, right? He ends up in the future of Earth.
Right. I got you. I'm reading you. I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
I won't go and let you watch it, but I just found the way it was written. Adam Driver's character is not a likable person. In which if you have, it's two people, it's him and this kid, which we saw from the trailer.
Yeah. If
you have two people and one of them you can't get behind, it makes for a long movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm intrigued now as to why you can't get behind him. But it is definitely a movie I'm going to watch. But it's unfortunate you get so behind a movie and excited for a movie, and then it, do nothing but let you down. To a certain degree, anyway.
Well, I guess that just plays into, are we at the point now where we just can't hype ourselves up for things and be excited just because we're going to deal with the eventual letdown? Or do we blame the filmmakers for just doing not that great a job?
Or just being lazy, not getting the... I don't know, though. Like, it was billed as a pretty, like a good kickstart to the year, right? In terms of an action movie that was coming out in 2023.
Yeah.
And then it was the wow. So how is it? Do you know how it's doing? box office without Googling it, or
without Googling it, I don't think it did anything special.
Yeah.
Like, where we are, it's out for people to streaming.
No one's talking about it too. Like I haven't
about
seen any press like on, not that I'm an avid Entertainment Tonight, but you tend to catch eCanada and all these other, outlets and on your feeds and whatnot. Like there was nothing, no ads at all, like on Facebook or Instagram or the Tickety Talk or whatnot.
Like, would you be surprised to hear that as of today, the Super Mario Brothers movie has grossed $500 million and is the biggest grossing or highest grossing video game adaptation of all time?
Am I surprised?
Well,
I don't know that I would be. I mean,
because it was gonna be, right? Like, it's Mario.
Yeah.
It's an animated movie. Families are going to be able to go, which means that just increases your audience size.
I sent you that thing where it was like the timeline, much like the Marvel phases, where it was like, Meteor, and I can't remember the other ones, but I kind of would be on board with a video game universe.
SMCU.
Yeah.
Super Mario
like
Cinematic Universe. I thought I heard they were going to do something Donkey Kong related, like, is the next thing.
Was there any
Mario 2 is coming, obviously.
Was there any like end credit scene? Not I'm not asking what it was, if there was one, but was there any?
There are. We didn't stay because again I went to work.
Oh right, you had to get going. So in this phase 1 timeline that I sent you, it was Super Mario Brothers kicked it off. It then went to Detective Pikachu 2. Following that was Zelda the Master Sword, and then Star Fox, and then Earthbound, which I'm not familiar with Earthbound. And then Super Mario Brothers 2, which is Yoshi's Island, Metroid, and then Super Smash Brothers, the fight against Master Hand. I'm sure there could be a few other ones in there, right? Like, remember Battletoads? Like, I loved Battletoads. Or was that
Blades of Steel in there?
Blades of Steel? Just like a little intermission with the hockey game between.
Although it'd probably just be ice hockey, right? The actual Nintendo owned one.
Yeah, you know what though? I mean, I'd be down. I'm not surprised that more interconnected properties aren't trying to do what Marvel did, right? But will we see it in Hall H anytime soon? Maybe not.
It's a big commitment, though. I think now, like, animated version, like, it's gonna be easy because especially if you own all the IP.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to really necessarily make it all interconnected storyline wise. It's just characters popping up.
But if you think about it, you could start an animated universe, and you start with like the 5, 6, 7-year-olds with like Super Mario Brothers as an example. But then you plan it out in such a way that the other properties, which are also video game related, of course, but you like plan it out so as the people are growing up and they're maybe watching more or playing more mature games, or just more games that are of a certain challenge, you could almost like bring them along with you as they're growing up, and they could be a pretty cool fan base to have. I don't know, trying something unique.
So they're gonna do this, and the next thing we're gonna get the Dr. Seuss cinematic universe.
That'd be awesome.
Cat in the Hat showing up in the Grinch with the Sneetches and the Lorax. They have to go battle Horton.
Get that going. Why not?
Well, you never know. Illumination is got a bunch of properties, right? We got Minions, and I think I saw somewhere, or at least the president of Illumination has been talking about doing a Shrek 5, which I understand because that was DreamWorks, but they're both owned by Comcast, so I don't know.
Yeah, it'll eventually happen. I mean, at some point, you will try for 5 just to make a buck.
Do we need another one?
No, I'm pretty good.
I was good after the second one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I only saw the second one. after the first one. That
Okay, I
was
was
it.
gonna say, just
Was it? Yeah, just
jumped in
jump
straight
right
to-
in, like just jump in. Yeah, who cares?
These characters are already established, so I might as well just watch the second.
That's right. The first one was good, but then I mean, you
Way
can
too much
only
pop culture. Way too much pop culture
yeah.
after that.
Was it?
Lead heavily into it.
Was it Puss in Boots came out after the second one, or was it?
Yeah, so Puss in Boots was introduced in 2, and then I think they did
And
a
then he
third
had
movie, and then they did his own.
okay, yeah.
Which I heard the second Puss in Boots is actually not bad.
Couldn't tell you. Nor do I ever think.
I mean,
will
I
be
didn't
able
even
to
see the
tell you.
first Puss in Boots either.
Yeah. Oh.
And yeah, so I said I watched Shazam, the second one. I get what you're saying. Like, to me, I think I messaged you. I
Yes,
thought
you
the two best actors in this are the worst people in the movie. Like, phoning it in would be a slap in the face to the term phoning it in.
yeah.
It gave nothing to her performance. It's almost as if she was like, I got paid. I guess I got to do this.
Everyone in that movie, right? Like the director was saying that those are actually words that literally came out of his mouth. And then you have, Helen Mirren, to your point. Was it Lisa
Helen Mirren
Liu?
was the worst. Yeah. That
And
being
the one
said,
thing, go ahead.
that Rachel Ziegler, I think was it Anne was her character's name?
Yeah.
And the guy that played Freddy, I thought those two were the best in the whole movie. That whole arc was the best.
Yep.
Like, I didn't give a shit about what was going on with Billy and Shazam. Like, I'd watch these two.
Yeah. They were the most genuine out of the Shazamily and the Sisters of Atlas and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that kind of caught me off guard, and I forgot to bring this up. Well, no, I think I may have just not said anything because I was hoping that you'd see it. But though, them saying that it's a family-friendly film, and it's kind of jumping right off where the first one, continuing where the first one left off. Pardon me. But then you have the teacher who's in Office Space. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, Diedrich Bader.
Diedrich Bader, thank you. In just walking and having his fate met with gravity, and it's like
and then have the sound effect of him hitting the ground, and then makes these mortal bodies. I forgot that they explode or whatever the line was.
I mean, Arlo is with me, who's 7 years old, and I mean, he's not. You can't. That's a hit or miss kind of situation with him, right? Like, he could either be nonchalant about it or watch it and be like, "What in the holy hell just happened?" But I'm watching him walk, and I'm like, "No, they're not. No, not Shazam. This is not." And then, whoa! And then the sound effect. To your point,
yeah. And keeping up with that, a buddy of mine was saying he took his kid last year to the monster trucks that was at the CTC.
Okay.
And again, to your point, was the guy was on like the BMX bike or the motorbike.
Oh god, no.
Goes over a jump, and like he wipes out, and like that took the kid out of the rest of the event. Like he just landed, went sideways, and then just slid into like the barricades, whatever, and like. Eventually, he was fine. He was just.
I love you said eventually. Eventually, he was.
When they slide off and you can't see them anymore,
right.
You wonder what
drag
happened.
him off.
But then he came out because that was like the kid was then at that point not wanting to be there anymore. So my buddy just like points him out. Look, he's fine. He's over there. I guess he didn't come back out because at that point that was done.
The motorcyclist has got people holding up his arm, and he's. That's just for the
like a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
That's right. No. See, look, kids, he's okay. He's okay. Yeah.
Well, that's when the PA guy is supposed to go, and he's okay.
And he's okay. Yeah, and they just they tape him to the handlebars. And they just send. They got a little rope that's dragging him along.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. What are they doing at the CTC? I actually have taken the boys there before, and I am surprised that that's not happened more often, where they just go all the way up and then decide that they want to have a cup of tea on the bike seat before doing a 360 spinorama. And
the extent of things that we've seen gone awry with the kids is just the figure skaters wiping out on Disney and Ice.
Yeah. Or like on the Disney on Ice when they're like they have those ribbons and that they swing them around and they're swinging. Jade and I are like, whoa, like
they might actually give her too.
100% they do. Yeah. And you're like, oh my god, like if this just goes like 1 inch the wrong way.
Yeah, and you got to explain to your kid.
Launch this person with skates into the 4th row and just gonna cut someone's like it's just terror ensues. But no, they managed okay. Yeah.
I still like to know who's just like, you know what's missing from all these Disney movies? Figure skating.
Who came up with the idea?
Yeah, like let's just reenact these movies on ice. Let's get all of our properties, get them someone in a booth to re-record the music because most of these people are dead now. From like all the classics.
Right.
And we'll throw them on ice. That's what people will pay to see. And fuck do they ever.
Too bad for the guy before that whose idea was we could do it while they're swimming. And they're like, Frank, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Guys, just to build on what Frank's were going with, how about not swimming but ice?
Yeah, why don't we freeze the water first? Brilliant.
Frank.
Send him packing, give him his pink slip. And then Harriet's
I pitched the synchronized swimming the show. They weren't having it.
And then it's Martin Short and on SNL from the 70s. Remember, it was Martin Short and the guy who plays some of the voices in The Simpsons. Anyway, they had like the synchronized swimming where like the one brother was able-bodied. No. It was. I can't. I will send it to you after, but it was one where Martin Short played like kind of not fully mentally there synchronized swimmer with his brother, and his brother was able-bodied, and they were like trying out for the Olympics. And Martin Short, being that silly, quirky Martin Short character, had worn.
I feel like I remember seeing this.
Yeah,
I did watch a lot of the old stuff. It sounds familiar, but yeah, I can't picture who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I wish I had more context for you for entertainment purposes, but
all right, let's maybe do some geek news.
Yes.
Because we're all about the visuals on an audio podcast.
It's fine. You just throw the banner at the bottom.
Next time.
Geek news.
All right,
there's a lot this week, I feel.
All right, well, let's start with the first one because it's more visual for the audio listeners. The first teaser trailer for the Marvels came out, so let's.
Hold on, have you seen it?
I have not. This
Captain
is
Rambo?
eyes on, first time.
What the hell are you doing?
Entering the jump point perimeter. I'm gonna get you some readings, Fury. Hello?
Monica.
Hello?
Captain Rambo?
Is this an Avengers test?
Where's Captain Rambo?
What the?
Now, don't you tell me to smile. You stick around and make it what you want.
Hi.
We're looking for Kamala Khan.
Okay, so our powers are entangled. I can manipulate light energy. And you...
I could totally show you.
No!
I'm not again.
Hi.
Where's our daughter?
Wherever you were. No. We're not a team.
We're not a team.
I don't know how I feel.
I'm sure there is somebody on the internet that has come up with a period syncing joke with regards to all that, because all their powers are in sync and they're all girls.
I got a bit confused with the beginning of the trailer, and I don't know if it's because I didn't see Miss Marvel through to the end. But are we already supposed to know? Like, Monica Rambeau is out in space and then touches something, which then prompts her to be switched with Kamala. Am I missing something? Like, are they?
No, like, because none of that ended in the show. What ended in the show was just what we saw with Carol Danvers ending up in Kamala's closet. That was like the end of the season. Nothing with Monica Rambeau was involved on Miss Marvel show.
Huh.
So I think that's probably going to help explain some things. Like, you didn't need to see the show to know what that happened. But you had to see the show and know who this girl is.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Soundtrack aside, you don't.
Oh, I mean, it was nice to hear the Beastie Boys, but then
Yeah.
that's like, that's Captain Marvel through and through. Like, Captain Marvel was leaning heavily into that 90s grunge type music, and then I feel that at least that song that was selected was for Carol Danvers. But I was watching through the trailer and I was thinking, I wonder if this is going to be a movie that helps launch the introduction of the mutants into the MCU. And I don't know if it's just me. Like, I am really gunning for this to happen and happen as soon as possible. So maybe I'm going into these trailers with the mindset of looking for a way that they would be introducing or linking mutants into the MCU. So I don't know if that's just me spending too much time focusing on it and overthinking it. But yeah,
It's almost like a bridge you have to cross in order to get to where you want to go.
I just don't know how I feel about it. I'm not like, oh my god, like I was with Guardians of the Galaxy or Quantumania. But maybe
That's a good thing.
that could be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, we were so excited about those, aforementioned movies that I just said, that me not being looking forward to this will end up being amazing. Who knows? Did you like Captain Marvel, the movie? The movie. What else would I be talking about? Did you like Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Like, obviously, like, majority of the last batch of Marvel flicks, it's kind of lost its luster after each repeat viewing.
Yeah.
It just becomes paint by numbers origin story.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it because it was, first time seeing the Skrulls, and the first time I saw it, the 90s tropes of like putting in a floppy or not a floppy disk, but like the one after, it's like second generation floppy disk, and waiting for it to do its thing. But then after you see that a few times, it's like, okay, you're really leaning heavily into the jokes. And so
it's 90 songs. Hey, there's Blockbuster. Hey, payphones.
That's right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'll see it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I'm not gonna stop
like
now, right?
Day one seeing it, or maybe it's day two seeing it.
Would you watch more of the trailers that come out, or?
Yeah, like that. To me, that's not something I like. Oh, I don't want to see any more now.
Yeah,
I don't mind the teasers. I like watching the second ones just so I have an idea of not what to expect, just what the like what they want me to think the story is going to be. Like I like to know what it's about.
We also live in a world too where a lot of the times, and not just Marvel movies, but even Star Wars movies and whatnot, where what we see in the trailer is not even in the movie.
Yeah, they always throw a swerve now, right?
Yeah.
But they don't really throw a swerve when they do the trailers that give you a sense of the story. Like, don't forget, we also are in a generation removed from trailers that were 90% like narration and exposition.
Yeah.
He was a man from this town.
Yeah. In a town.
Yeah, in a town where crime is all high. And it is the woman he loves.
He's going to revolt, and the woman he loves fight back and stand up against one man who owns the town. I own the town.
But exactly.
Should just do a movie trailer, honestly.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean, cool. The Marvels.
Huzzah! This is not really a teaser,
Mhm.
but have you seen this? It's a little production trailer for the Penguin.
This is one of those moments.
Now in production.
Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself, what kind of life do I want? The world ain't built for guys like us. That's why we gotta take whatever we decide is ours. It's Carmine Falcone's right hand. Try to push me out. Whoa, hey! You ain't seen what I can do. If you step out of line, even once, I'll gut you like a goddamn fish. Can you imagine the people saying my name in the streets after you're gone? Have it mean something? The new kingpin of Gotham.
I mean, I already liked him as the Penguin in the Batman, but this is just like, holy shit. Like, you could not find anyone better to portray the character. And I like that little extra, him waddling from like an injury or whatnot.
Right.
I don't know why they would need to show. I don't know why they feel they would need to show like the production one where you see like the boom mic over the.
Yeah, they could have literally, because that's the only shot, right? That's the only and the whole thing. You could taken that out, and this would have just looked like a normal teaser trailer
for sure. And I'm trying not to. We bitch on DC and their plans, and like they don't even know what they're trying to do. So I'm trying to remove myself and say like, well, here's another example of them not knowing what they want. They've got now this Batman saga that's not only going to be 2 or 3 movies, but now they're introducing HBO shows. And I don't know if this is a limited series or it could be multiple seasons.
I don't
know. So you kind of like try and reserve your thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just look at it for what it is, like this is like looks like a really good show, much better than Gotham Knights.
Whoa.
But
easy. You don't want to shit all over Gotham Knights any more than we have.
No, I am totally on board for this.
So I get on board with this. Like, I like the idea of we had the Matt Reeves one, and we introduced this new world for Batman. And as you know, like, it was Carmine Falcone was the guy.
Yeah.
Or Falcone, whatever you want to call him. I think it was Falcone and Nolan's, but Falcone and everything else.
I say Falcone.
And so Oswald Cobblepot was just like a lieutenant in the grand scheme of things. So have that movie end, and now you're going to have, let's say, 6-episode miniseries of watching his growth and rise in the world of crime in Gotham. And then the next movie starts, and he could be like the de facto villain, which I think is cool.
Do you think this is coming out in 2024, and obviously,
Yeah, I think Batman's 2025.
okay, so it is confirmed 2025.
I believe so.
Okay, even if it's late 2024, like it makes you wonder, like, is this the show that kind of launches Clayface, who is the rumored, villain of the second Batman?
Maybe.
Did they use this as a launching pad for him? Or did they use this even as like Clayface will be introduced in Batman 2 on its own, but then maybe through the Penguin limited series they introduce other characters that'll be in future movies, and that's how they intertwine
Maybe.
the silver screen with the small screen. So
And again, then do you want to heavily do that and have people need to commit to an HBO package in order to know what's going on to the next movie?
I wouldn't put it past the studio,
because that's what
to do
Disney
that.
did, and that seems to have been causing some problems.
Yeah, fair enough. To the point where they're actually cutting back on content. That's a good point. And also too, like you having seen Gotham in its entirety, and myself only the first few seasons. Do you think they need to really be aware of the type of stories that they're telling and not be going down the same road as Gotham, where obviously this is HBO and CW, I think is what Gotham was.
I think that was our Fox.
Or Fox, you're right. It was Fox, yeah.
Oh, it was Fox.
So you can tell two different types of stories, but you just got to make sure that you're telling something that's unique that hasn't been told already with respect to the villains and the crime bosses. And that's the thing. Like we've had a lot of Batman movies and Batman tie-ins, some successful, some others not. That if you tell like the underworld story once more, you just got to make sure you have a good, like fresh story that you can tell that won't be off-putting to people potentially.
Yeah, it'll be weird to go from, you had Keaton's Joker, and then Penguin, Catwoman, and then the Schumacher's Riddler, Two-Face, and Mr. Freeze. Then we get more realistic with.
Don't forget Bane and Poison Ivy. I mean, come on.
I will forget about those. Then we get Nolan's with as a realistic you can get with Scarecrow and a Fear Toxin.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, Two-Face, Joker, and a different Bane, a British sounding bloke.
I was born in the darkness.
Exactly.
We'll
and then we just jump into like to me, this Clayface seems an interesting choice for a grounded film.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's not like it's not a power, it's just like he just disguises himself.
Or maybe he's just disfigured and you can't really make heads or tails of who he is because he's just so disfigured. And it's not that he's changing.
He's like Tom Cruise in MI6 or MIF, whatever the Mission Impossible Force.
They
just has little masks.
Yeah,
that's what makes him Clayface.
Maybe he just
make any face.
Clayface plays Wolf Blitzer like he did in MI6,
or maybe it's just a makeup artist.
Or that too.
Because he's an actor, right? That has a
Clayface. Yeah, he was initially an actor. Yeah, introduced for the animated series, which, by the way, is so amazing.
Yeah,
so amazing.
Hands
arguably the best cartoon intro ever. I'm going to say top 3.
Top 3 animated or just
animated
adaptations of?
No. Top 3 animated introductions. The song, the visuals. Yeah,
it's
definitely
Danny Elfman theme.
Yeah, I can see that.
Although, if you really watch the opening entrance again, those guys never went into the bank. And Batman took him out anyway.
Yeah,
They're just dark figures standing outside a bank, and the bank explodes, and Batman takes him out.
Maybe they were stopping to take out money to go to get a shawarma. I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
Wrong place, wrong time. You know, they went to the wrong Halloween costume, dressed up as thugs, and they were perceived to be thugs, and now they're in Arkham Asylum.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. Cory, I think it would be a good time to hop into a commercial break.
Then that's what we shall do. Take a little break, and we'll come back with some more fun.
Mom, we're thirsty!
Well, I've got 2 glasses of Sun Fizz coming right up.
Sunfizz, that's our favorite!
That's because there's a delicious ray of sunshine in every drop.
Come on, guys.
I'm filled with nature's goodness. Hey, what's with you people? I've got vitamins and minerals.
Trust your gut, not some cartoon character.
Remember that commercial? Why can't all commercials be that good?
I don't.
I also saw this pop up.
What was it? Orange Fizz?
Yeah, it was Sprite commercial, but it was Sun Fizz was the fake product.
Sun Fizz. Yeah.
This popped up on Instagram. It says kids do not understand the real meaning of TGIF. And obviously Blockbuster Takeout, the TJF lineup on ABC, which no longer exists because no more appointment television, right?
So we have Family Matters, staple. Boy Meets World, I didn't really watch that myself. Dinosaurs was totally into that. Perfect Strangers, I mean, how can you not love Balky? Who's above them?
It's Step by Step.
I don't remember that.
Patrick Duffy, Suzanne Summers.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's like a Brady Bunch. They had family. I think there was second marriages, kids intermingling.
Okay. Step by Step. Full House, of course. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, wasn't really into that, but then above it, yeah. I mean, look at that. The movies, the video games, the Doritos. Oh yeah.
Was that Pepsi Clear? Is that what one of those was? Never drank that one.
You never tried Pepsi Clear, really?
No, sir.
You haven't lived life until you.
Yeah, I guess I haven't. But yeah, like I said, like TV's not like that anymore.
No. But this was this was appointment viewing, right? Like every Friday, this was the thing, and I like our household to some degree still does that. Like we do pizza every Friday.
Yep, we do take out every week Friday.
We do a movie or a TV show. If it's not a movie, then we watch AFV because we love America's Funniest Videos. And we used to do that when we were kids too, except it was America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah, and then they also had that short-lived America's Funniest People with Dave Coulier.
Oh, right, and they were playing off of the whole Full House, like Bob Saget.
Bob
Dave
had
Coulier.
the second half hour. Yeah,
that was not good.
No, that's why I think
terrible.
Seasons, 3 seasons.
We should definitely try in an upcoming episode.
Okay,
have that intro as one of our breaks, just to see, because I can't remember what it is. I just remember it being very bad.
Okay.
Tell the interns. Yeah.
Find our stuff.
What else we got?
We have recap of the homework that I did over the past week. So we'll start with The Secret Invasion that I read.
Okay.
It was a lot quicker read than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this great, big.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because I got into it.
Which actually is surprising, because Brian Michael Bendis is known for having very, very, very wordy comics. Like, and he will pause the overall story to stop to have a scene in like a bedroom or an office where they just he spends a whole page of just back and forth conversations. Right. So yeah, funny to hear
that didn't happen here.
No.
But I dug it. I don't see how this will play at all like that. This series will play at all like this, especially if there's no superheroes in it. So yeah, it makes me wonder what's going to happen with
The TV show.
The TV show.
See, it makes me like it makes me wonder if the TV show is kind of the setup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in the comics, they talked about how this was planned for many years, and we kind of jumped into that comic story after it had been established, right? So maybe the Secret Invasion TV show is them establishing the motive for the Skrulls, and then throughout Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty or whatever, maybe that's where they start to incorporate that into the larger story. But you're right, like it is different, very much different in that sense.
Yeah, because he had, so there was Avengers, or at least from the Illuminati went off world to like intervene in an excursion with the Skrulls and whomever, what planet they're taking over, and then the infiltration started shortly after that. So yeah, we're not gonna have that because unless it's gonna date back to like the Kree and the Skrulls fighting, that there was maybe some
the Kree Skrull War, perhaps.
Yeah,
there might be like quick, references to it maybe in the TV show, but I don't think so. I think this is just going to be a very hyper focused story, just using the name. Which, I mean, it's no surprise. Marvel's done that before, right? Like Civil War and Age of Ultron and whatnot. Like they use the stories from the comics by name, but then they tweak it and alter it as needed. So,
because part of me fears like we kind of already had this story in a way with Winter Soldier, with the revelation that basically S.H.I.E.L.D. this whole time was Hydra. So maybe you can do something a little different than that.
Does it make you want to read any other story arcs from Marvel Comics around that time period, like Civil War, like House of M, the Illuminati? Like, are you intrigued now by that era of the stories to read more?
I wasn't, but I could dive into that stuff. Like I have, actually, ironically, after I read this, I can't remember where we were, but came across the trade paperback of Secret Invasion, Intrusion, which I guess compiled all the stories leading up to what the paperback was about.
Yeah.
And the next,
you read it.
Well, yeah, it was quick. I didn't think it was 200 pages would be to go like that. I think it did.
Yeah.
I spaced it out, but I could have got it done quick. I think the first night I read out about pretty much half of it.
And were you like, were you intrigued where if you had more time you would have finished it? Like, did it grab you?
I had all the time in the world. I just thought like, I'll just space it out.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I could have. I'm sure I could have done it all in one sitting.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, is Tony actually going to be a Skrull? Because they keep telling him that he is. He wasn't.
Spoiler.
What is it, like 15-year-old?
I want to say like 15 to 18 years. Yeah, it's definitely.
So if you haven't read it yet, people.
2005. Statute of limitations, people. Come on.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And then
MOTH.
Yes. Masters of the Universe. So yeah, after we watched the god-awful trailer last week, I decided I'm going to watch the movie again.
Right.
And as awful as it is, still loved it.
Yeah.
It's still amazing. It's so bad, but it's still good. It takes me. I can remember sitting there on my floor in my parents' living room watching this movie
because it hits you in the feels, right? Like I'm
hair and Lundgren and all.
100% right there with you. Like I know that this is a shit movie. You do not need to school me on it being bad. Like as a matter of fact, let me save you your breath, and I'll tell you it's bad. But it just works. It works.
I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah, it just and even like Eternia, like when at the beginning of the movie when they show first Eternia and is it Gildor? Gildor,
something like that.
Who is kind of like the movie's version of the cartoons. What is it, Eco or whatever? The little wizard.
The hat.
yeah, right from there, it was like, yeah, like this is a tourney. I can buy this, and then they, the instrument that makes them travel to the different worlds. It's just the whole thing was great.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's a synthesizer on Earth because it's like,
yeah.
oh, this is some newfangled synthesizer that must have fallen off a truck outside of the music place.
It's like, oh, this is a cool new instrument. You want to play it or dance band with it?
That's right.
Yeah, I could do a couple tunes. What do you call it? I don't know.
The 80s.
The 80s. But that's why we love them, because they're just so different.
Yeah, then you puts the fucking like obedient collar on the guy.
Yeah. And it has that sound effect like,
yeah,
you are, yeah. Tell me everything. You are good looking. or so,
pretty much.
But yeah. The collar.
Yeah, but no, like Frank Langella, man, is Skeletor. Perfect. Dude was rocking it.
He really was perfect. Like, it was, the hood, and then the only thing, even when I was a kid, which I thought at the time was like very cool. He's in his gold suit, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
But even there was a small part of me was like, oh, okay, like, but I guess he got the power of the sun, so I'll believe that and buy that. And
the sun is so powerful that it will change your ensemble.
But even the part where like Dolph Lundgren's reaching for the sword, and he's like, and he does that face like, and he reaches, and
his heavy Swedish accent too.
Yeah.
With the hair and everything.
So what would you we need like an open collar,
I think we had to think of buttons.
Oh, right. Yes. How many buttons up would you give it?
Well, my whole shirt ain't gonna be open, but I'd say 3 buttons. Like, get some air going.
Yep,
Let the chest breathe.
Let it breathe. Okay,
yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, what's our scale? What 3 to note to like we got a tie on? The tie, or we go like what? 0 is the tie's up. Yeah. 1 star is like the tie's loosened. 3 is the one collar. It's on ties undone with the one button open, and then
that's right.
No and tie, 2 buttons. 5 is
5's like,
buttons.
Hey.
Yeah. Gold chain showing the chest hairs out.
Razor Ramon.
Yeah, we need a toothpick is in.
That's right.
And then the last thing, which again we talked about, I think last summer, because we're gonna do a whole summer series. I finally watched your Rad.
How amazing is it?
I didn't really understand.
Oh God, here we go.
No one's that into bikes. I would have to imagine.
In the 80s, everyone is into bikes. That was like the main mode of transportation if you did not have a driver's license.
But to drive through a lumber yard, getting chased by the cops.
Yeah, that was a bit corny, okay?
It's like they wanted to be... Oh, and then that's not even get started on the fucking bike dance scene.
No. What are you talking about? That was amazing.
It's like they like wanted to be like every movie into one movie. Like
send me an angel.
Yeah, like just bring in fucking like we're gonna be Footloose with bikes.
Yeah. There were certain parts of it that was, that's tremendously corn dog. But like when
all
I was
it needed to me, all it needed to be like the most cliched 80s movie like this of all time is that they were not winning money for themselves. It was to save the rec center.
Right.
If they would have done that, I mean, this would have been like checked every box.
The best part of the movie was the trials at the beginning where a crew actually has to qualify for.
Yeah.
What's the mega race called? I can't remember.
Oh, it's
Death Fall.
Like
Hellfall or Hellscape or something like that.
Quick to the Google.
Yeah. No, Hell Drop.
Anyway, or something. Yeah, so it's hell something. It's a hell of a good time.
The best part of that whole movie was that whole montage
Hell
of him
Track.
going Hell Track. That's it.
right.
Where it's what is the guy's name? He was in Dirty Dancing. He's the hotel owner in Dirty Dancing, and he manages Mongoose, Team Mongoose. Hell Track, the most craziest, and he's got like the yeah. It was great. Filmed in Cochrane, Alberta, for those that don't know, which is just outside of Calgary, literally just outside of Calgary. It would be like no one will know except for me and you. It'd be like Canada to Orleans, essentially. Yeah. So very, very close. Hell Track. Yeah.
Yeah, that fucker went out of his way to make sure that this guy did not qualify for Hell Track. Just rule after rules. And it's like a little henchman too, right? Like,
Bart,
no
Bart
money,
Simpson?
no racy. Like, who says fucking racy?
Bart Simpson and the twins. It's not Bart Simpson. It's not Simpson. It's something else. But Bart and then the twins. It's such a good movie. You know what? I really enjoyed it. I wanted to be a BMX as soon as I saw it. So, what would be the open collar rating on this one?
Oh, jeez. Also, the whole like, I don't know about you and your bike, but I wouldn't be, driving through the park and then gonna like leap into the lake and just throw my bike. Me
Right?
and my girl. I'm like, no, like this shit. I'm putting it down, then I'll hop in the lake.
And then go slide down a random luge in like that will take you into the lake. Like never seen that before. Apparently that's a big tourist attraction in Cochrane, Alberta, is the lake luge, they call it.
And then you lose your bike in the lake?
That's it. You should see the pile of bikes at the bottom of that lake, Cory.
Just a bike graveyard.
It's a bike graveyard, that's right. Yeah. Just a bunch of rust just like filtering to the top of the water. I tell you.
Yeah, like is like there's but like yeah, okay, I'll give you at least a button. The tie is down, a button on it. Like it did peak it did capture my interest. While I questioned the logic behind a lot of the choices, I did watch it. Like one of my questions is, what is Talia Shire doing there? She really had nothing to do. I think she had 3 scenes.
If that.
She's taking everything out of the trunk, the groceries, and then maybe a little thing on the radio, and then she's at the end of the movie.
Bitching at crew for not doing anything with his life and
well, as all moms do in 80s movies.
That's right. Yeah. Carrying paper bags, because that was a staple in the 80s.
Isn't it funny that they went from paper bags to, and now we're back.
And now we're back. Cyclical, 100%. Yeah. Full circle. Full circle.
We just don't have people bagging it for us.
Makes you wonder, what was the selling, what was the elevator pitch that worked to go from paper to plastic? And now we're obviously environmental reasons we're back to paper, which I'm all for, which is fine. But
I wonder if
what was that pitch? What was it that made it? Hey, this is a good idea.
Probably they did the same reasoning, just for different reasoning. We got to get away from paper bags to save trees. So plastic is, it's cheaper. You can reuse it more. Like if it gets wet, it's not a big deal. And now we're going back because, the toxicity of it all.
You have that one person's like, well, what happens when you throw it out? No, Frank, we don't need to answer that question.
We didn't give a shit about your synchronized swim in Disney. We're not going to give a this about the bags.
It's all about reusing it. Just don't throw it away ever. But what happens if it tears? Can someone shoot this guy?
No one cares about the turtles. No one cares about synchronized swimming. But one thing I will say this about the reusable bag situation is, have you gone to a store that offers reusable bags? You cannot find one.
No.
At the checkout. They tell you, would you like to buy a bag? Sure. Do you have any? Because there's none here.
Yeah. Or it's funny because they're like, do you want to buy a bag, and do you want to buy one for $5 or $1? And it's like the $1 one is just like it will break before you even get to your car.
Yeah.
And then the $5 one is like not that much better. But I mean, it's working for our household. Like we now bring bags with us wherever we go. I shouldn't say wherever we go, but when we buy groceries and stuff like that, we are now conditioned to do that. It's taken some time, but we've gotten there. But then there's that one time, obviously, where you just like you forget, right? You got to pick up something after work, and you're like, kind of like.
I would say so. That's the one thing I enjoyed about the big winter coat. It was if you forgot about the bag, didn't matter. You got like 16 pockets in your jacket
For sure. Yeah, and you're like the little kid on that video game where you're just stuffing things in your pockets and everywhere. Hey, doesn't matter if I fall down. I'm protected.
It's
I'm
but
cushioned.
that's 100% a guy problem.
Yep.
You get told to pick something up. You're not planning on doing it, so you don't plan ahead. So you don't think I need to grab bags. You just go in, grab it, and then shit. I got to carry all this back to the car.
That's right. Or you have to pick something up, and then you call the missus and ask, "Is there anything else you need?" And they tell you, and you're like, "Oh, I was not expecting that much."
I don't have a cart. I don't have bags.
That's right. Yeah. Can I make multiple trips? Well, why don't you?
Have
just
you ever
come
done
home
the
then?
no cart, but you had bags? So you're debating: do I put the stuff in the bag to take to the cash to take it out to pay?
Quite often. Quite often.
Will they think I'm stealing this because I'm loading it into a bag?
Single time. Every single time I think, am I being looked at by the mall security or the grocery store security? We got a potential thief in produce aisle 3. Keeps throwing
He's
bananas.
already bagging them. He's bagging the shit before he leaves.
That's
the
why,
store.
like every time I throw it in the bag, I'm looking up. I'm like, see, I'm throwing this in the bag.
Yeah.
Take it out.
I do. I often look for the cameras just on the off chance.
Just you never know, right? Like you just want to. You don't know how with the way things are these days, with rising grocery costs. If someone sees you put something in a bag, who knows? You might just get prime timed from the side and taken out and tackled, and you're like, I was gonna pay for it.
No chances around these parts.
That's right. No, there's the wild, wild west.
Yeah, cost of groceries, Lord. Yeah, so that was my homework.
Nice. So what is my homework for next week then? I think I threw a lot on your plate, so now you got to throw something on mine.
I will say you did, considering I had to go back to didn't we talk about something before? Like, oh yes, that popped in my head. Again, going through my list of unwatched movies on servers and under R was rad.
Short for radical.
No.
Yeah, I know, right? Right?
That requires a
yeah, it does. You're welcome, world.
Yeah, jeez. Although I often like watching movies and then going onto IMDb and read the trivia. Original title was called Balls Out.
What?
The cop says to him before the thing. Tell him to go balls out.
Rad?
Yeah.
There's no way.
True story.
Wow.
Could you imagine? I think that probably would have made it a little bigger movie or more of a disappointment.
Yeah, that's true. It could have gone either or. Balls out. Hellscape down Ballsack. There actually is a town just outside of Calgary. So there's Cochrane where this movie was filmed. If you go the other direction and cross Calgary and go north, you'd run into a town called Balzac. 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 Just saying. Where do you live? In Balzac. Sorry, what?
What's that?
Coming in? In Balzac. Yeah. And then there's a place called Vulcan. So Calgary and the surrounding areas, the greater Calgary area, has got some weird names. For some no disrespect. I mean, I've lived in that area, so I'm not disrespecting our many listener. But I'm just calling and saying it is what it is.
I hate to be named Harry and be from Balzac.
Named, yeah. You know Harry from Balzac, right?
Poor Harry.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. His son Richard, but we call him Dick. Dickie Balzac. We're going down a dark path.
Yeah. Where are you guys going? Me, Harry, Dick, Balzac.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
That's how
did you say Virginia? Yeah, that's who we're going. Anyway,
Yeah, Regina.
Regina. Yeah. Was it in one of the best ones is in 40-Year-Old Virgin when they go on the speed dating.
Oh, Gina.
Name's Gina. So just got out looking for some fun. Yeah, so good. That's a movie that I still enjoy every time.
Another
I watch
movie
it.
that would not be able to be made today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And not even the speed dating or like the stuff he's trying to use to pick up women, but just from the scene of, you want to know how I know you're gay? That whole scene would have to be cut down.
Yeah. Or even the sexual harassment from the manager onto Steve Carell's character. Just like, so you're going to become fuck buddies or like, no.
I'm very discreet, but I will haunt your dreams.
Yeah. Used to, what was it? The old Spanish pool boy that would sing, made love to me, sweet, passionate love. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you want to have that type of relationship,
just for our own fun, our homework is to watch the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I am up for that. Jade and I love that movie, so we will definitely we should take a note on how many scenes, phrases, innuendos that are in that movie that would definitely be
for
canceled. Sure. I'm gonna put the over under at, if we include like scenes as in general, dialogue and even just innuendos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put it at 15. 14 and a half is the over under.
That should be a new series we do. We watch movies and do a cancel count.
Yes.
So we watch within how many things in it we require this movie to be canceled.
The inaugural cancel count will
cancel
be
count
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, so cancel count, new segment, and we'll discuss how many and what would cause this movie to be canceled today.
Yeah, and every sound effect will be like, "Oh no, you didn't."
Oh no, you didn't.
Nice.
All right, man. So that, I guess, is open caller for this week. Oh, then I think by then if we record next week, which I think we are, it will drop, I think, the day after, which would have been 5 years since the first episode. So episode 107 will be like the 5th anniversary of the podcast.
Wow, you got to bring the gang back together, Corey. Work on that.
I will rally the troops.
Rally the troops. So yeah, open caller at Open Caller Pod on Instagram, Facebook. There we go. The Twitter, the Insta, the YouTube at Open Caller Pod. We live stream for the most part. I'd say every Friday. We've been pretty consistent every Friday around 8:30
Friday night in Ottawa.
That's right. And for the folks that listen to the audio version, we come out every Tuesday. So hit us up. Tell us what you love. Tell us what you want to talk about. Leave a comment. Tell us what you hate. Yeah, exactly.
Hate all of it. No. Beautiful.
Keep
and
it
with that,
geeky.
With that, your feel-good Feldman.
Oh no. Mayday, MREC. All systems alert. Damien, Part 4.
It's all over, Mork!
No, Billy, no!
I'm sorry. I went too far.
Oh, it's all right, Billy. It was just a game. Kind of heavy stakes, but just a game.
I'm sorry. Get better. I saw my dad do this. I hope it works.
Oh, I have a feeling it will.
I made Mork better.
Yep. Well, you think you want to be Billy the Kid anymore?
No way. I've got a new hero now.
Who's that, Bill?
You, Mork.
Oh.